All right, everybody, welcome. Today we're doing something a little different because I've done quite a few prison architect videos in a row, and I figured I should switch it up just for some more traction, some new viewers, and also just to get a little break from prison architect for the viewers. I'm personally still having fun with it, but I also love automation, and I feel like some people will have fun with this, more fun with this as well. So today, as you can tell by the title, I'm making. I'm gonna try to make the fastest um, Toyota Corolla possible. And what I'm gonna do, this. I have this, which is based off of my personal Toyota Corolla. It's got the same RPM, everything. This is designed exactly from mine, but um, there's a few inaccuracies with it, and well, not inaccuracies, but a few parts I had to guess on. So we're remaking it, but also we're doing the 2.4 liter from the XRS. Um, First time mentioning it on my channel, but I'm majorly into cars. So, um, yeah, I don't remember right off the top of my head the name of it. I think it's the 2ZRFE, but I'll put a little editor's note of what it is. So we will be using ChatGPT because with economy cars, and I know this from experience because I've built so many automation economy cars, it's really, really hard to find information. So hopefully it's not inaccurate, but it's going to be better than if I were to look it up and then have to guess on half the stuff. So we're going to be using um, ChatGPT for all this, and we're going to bump up the quality to 5 because it is a Toyota after all. The Despite me not remembering the engine name right now, the 2010 XRS engine is my favorite engine in the world. Okay, so it's the 2.4 liter 2AZFE. So I think I said 2RZFE, but yeah, I was pretty close with the name. I know that for sure. But so ChatGPT is saying the 2.4 liter 2AZFE engine is in the 2000 Corolla, uses an aluminum silicon alloy, which we can guess already, but I'm not sure which one. And it says specifically this would be a type of A356 or A319. So because it's an economy car, I believe it'll be an aluminum light. Or it's not necessarily economy, but it is an economy derived sports car. So next we're gonna go with 4 by stroke, I believe. Yeah. All right. So the bore is an 88.5 by 96. All right. But let's see the valve train. I believe it's a 16 valve off the top of my head. Yep, 16 valve. So that's 4 per cylinder. All right. So ChatGPT says it's an aluminum cylinder head. So let's see. I already knew this. It comes with a forged interior, but what I don't know, I would assume it's just forged, not forged heavy, not forged light. I believe the con rods are also forged. Yes, forged con rods. So while the crank is forged and the con rods are forged, the pistons are. All right. Well, it's saying while the crank and con rods are both forged, the pistons are cast light. And let's see what type of harmonic or what type of balancing mass it uses. All right, so it is saying it uses a balance shaft. It's not giving me an answer, but we're gonna crank it up just a bit, to maybe 4 kilograms. I'm not exactly sure, but we will see. So the XRS or the 2AZFE has a 9.8 to 1 compression ratio. It doesn't exactly specify, and I just remembered. Doesn't really matter because stuff like this, cam profiles, springs and lifters, as well as aspiration fuel system fuel, and exhaust will all be changed later to optimize performance. But I do know it's got VVT and VVO. And I do, from what I remember, I believe it has an 8,000 RPM red line, and it has a very high VVO RPM engagement, which will also be tuned later on. We are going to go with the twin charge setup in lieu of the Alrima update for automation, and also because realistically, it's kind of the best. If you can get it to work, it is the best way to get power, because you keep your power band, and yeah, throughout the entire thing you keep your power band, and really when you go up in turbo amounts, doesn't really help out much, because they're more, when you have more turbos, they kind of just fuel each other rather than actually making it faster. Whereas the supercharger kind of helps out with both, but same principle for the most part. But you get to keep just one turbo for the most efficient horsepower. Where is the supercharger? It should be attached to the belt somewhere. I don't know, maybe it'll show up later. Definitely gonna go direct injection. Multi-point EFI comes with the Corolla. Or is it mechanic? What? Yeah, it is multi-point EFI. This stuff is all going to be changed. Once again, +5. So we are going to go with ethanol E85. Can automatically just go with a race. And there we go. There's the supercharger. Not that the size is definitely going to have to be changed. But these are just the default settings. And a tubular race. No bypass. Because we actually, yes, bypass. And we're going to go with a reverse flow. Failure to valve float, but other than that, failure due to valve float, but I mean, that's something we were going to change eventually anyways, so not too important. So to get rid of valve float, we just need to stiffen it up. And you can see right there where VVL kicks in. We're definitely going to have to change that a bit because we are running a twin charge setup. So we're going to have extremely stiff lifters just to make sure the power band's not entirely weird. Cam profile, we're probably going to increase that a bit. I don't know if we actually have to. Yeah, that definitely helps with the, let's see. Honestly, yeah, it's kind of perfect right there. A 59, that's actually the max we can do, but that really helps smooth out the power band. With a peak horsepower of 376 and a twin charge setup, I'm not entirely happy right now, but we're still having a lot of issues, which we're going to fix later. So right now, I think we should definitely work on the setup. So I was just trying to look at what the best size geometry for a twin charge setup, and I forgot I had already inputted the 2AZFE, so it's now telling me literally every single detail. So we're gonna actually try out ChatGPT suggestion first, play around with it, see if we can make it better. But honestly, this is so in depth for what to do specifically for a 2AZFE twin charge setup that this might actually work. So it says to go with a twin scroll turbo, which as you can see helped out a little. Ball bearings, not journal bearings. Um, which once again helped out a bit. We're definitely gonna need boost control. I don't think ChatGPT knows about smart boost. We're gonna keep it on here for now, but we're gonna change it later once we're done with the supercharger setup. So it's saying the compressor size should be 60 millimeters to 80, and turbine size should be 70 to 85. Um, oh yeah, I guess that's working so far. It's not telling me what the turbine AR ratio and compressor trim should be, nor is it telling me how much boost. Okay, we'll come back to those. Uh, Definitely gotta increase the intercooler size. Might actually have to increase it more. I know if you increase it too much, it gets really wonky, so we're gonna keep it 477 for now. So supercharger, we have to use roots, which it seems like this is the inaccuracy of ChatGPT coming in, but it's saying to use screw, which you physically cannot do. But we are going to have, I believe, a clutch. Yeah, a clutch, and I don't know, to be honest, I don't know much about force induction, but I believe a clutch on a supercharger will allow me to engage and disengage it. I'm assuming that's what it means by clutch, kind of like a clutch in an actual car, um, which would be really obvious for a setup like this. And we're gonna do a pretty freaking small one. Um, as you can see, that already helped out, but we're gonna play around with the supercharger. Okay, so it's saying to use a 1.6. Let's see. I think I'm gonna go back down. All right, so it seems like a 1.1 liter supercharger, which is insane given that it's almost half the size of the actual engine. Saying seeming like 1.1 is the best size to use, and it is saying 6 to 8 psi uh, for 68 psi for the boost of it, but I don't know what that is in bar, so we're gonna change that real quick. All right, so I'm back. It says 6 to 8 for the supercharger. We're gonna go on the low end with 6 first. So actually, 14.5 is the best. I've no clue what the supercharger tune or gear ratio should be, so I'm gonna come back to that, and we're gonna also play around with the um, boost limit for this. So it seems like 41 is the most optimal. Um, let's play around with the boost index. So 422 foot-pounds at 15 psi of boost is the most we can get it with it still being reliable. And we're trying to stay true to the XRS, so theoretically we could do, put some better pistons in, all that, but that's probably something for the different days. This is the best we can do while still staying true to it. So this is looking like, let's see. This is a Corolla after all, so I'm going to stay somewhat reliable, but 21.4 is not great. For reference, a stock Corolla is 100, so it's a fifth of the reliability. Still better than any German engineered car. So we got the intercooler size down to 446 horsepower. All right, so I went in and I adjusted the VVL profile, which raised the numbers a little bit, but more importantly, uh, it's showing red, but it's because it's being weird. More importantly, increased performance index, reliability, and responsiveness. Now we got to work on the fuel. For the most part, I believe you should always be running more rich than lean, because lean is going to damage the engine, but also when you're having something so focused on performance rather than fuel efficiency doesn't really matter, so richness is the way to go. So we got it up to 56 on the fuel map index, because that just increased all this stuff, and then after we got to this point, it started to decrease stuff. So this is probably the best it'll be. It did decrease horsepower a little bit, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter that much. We're gonna go back, make sure our intercooler's still good. Next, we gotta advance or retard the timing. Probably advance, if I had to guess. Honestly, it's seeming like the timing is good where it's at. So the timing's at 43, so it's slightly retarded, but Time is at 43. Had minimal impact on horsepower, but it did give better responsiveness and slightly better reliability. So can't really complain. Also needs less cooling, which is always good. Next, let's get to the manifold size. So, um, weird thing about manifold size on automation is it just doesn't really tell you what measurements. Like, what is it? Is it the millimeter of the ports? I mean, I don't know. I don't know, but this is something you just gotta play around with. So it seems like 63 might be the best. Yeah, I ran around and played with it, and 63 is the best. Manifolds are definitely weird to get right because I don't know if I'm assuming automation is very realistic, so I'm assuming they factor it in, but you really have to make sure the scavenging effect is in full effect, as well as not making it too small. That way there's proper airflow. So next is everything doing with exhaust. Obviously we cannot have a dual exhaust because it's a 4-cylinder, but we can still play around with this stuff. And actually we're going to do a, yeah, that got nerfed significantly. Um, Completely forgot about cats, but we are trying to make this street legal as well, so kind of need a cat, unfortunately. So we're gonna do a 35 to get a nice clean 420 horsepower. Uh, then change the exhaust size, which I know in inches you're supposed to do basically 1 inch for every 100 horsepower, but millimeters I got to do the conversion. All right, so ChatGPT is saying 88.9, which is large given our manifold. I should have probably done exhaust first because it might actually be restricting the rest of the stuff, but let's see. Wow, even a 150 millimeter exhaust is actually performing better, but let's try. Yeah, there we go. There's the scavenging effect. 88.9. It's actually very good. So now let's play around with header and manifold again to see if we can get it better. So it's honestly seeming like smaller is still better. So this should actually be the engine completed. Um, Not horrible engine efficiency. I don't know what the index for this is. Fairly loud, fairly smooth actually. It's really smooth, decent responsiveness, horrible reliability, and almost 400 pounds for the engine alone. But as you can see, for some odd reason, it comes stock carbon fiber. But this is the intake to the turbo, as well as the supercharger actually goes straight to the turbo and a twin star setup. So those are both going in. Exhaust gases, spools up. And here is that fat exhaust pipe. Holy crap. But let's see. Hopefully it'll run in BeamNG, but my computer's not the greatest, so it might not. Alright, everybody, I am back. It's really late at night now. I had to do some stuff, so it's gonna be a bit rushed. Alright, this might be based off of a Corolla. Maybe a Civic, maybe a Corolla. I'm not sure. Yeah, we're just gonna go with steel. So it's got a monocoque. Alright, so it's got a monocoque steel chassis with a front transversal, I believe. Let me check. 4-wheel drive, yes. McPherson's front in the front. And what did it have? I believe a double wishbone in the back. And +5 because it is a Corolla after all. Front wheel drive, obviously. Existing engine. We're going to do that. Comes with a mandatory manual 5-speed. Tops out at 120. But that's because of the governor. So these are not the gearing setups, but we actually are going to change this later because that's something you would change if you're making something like this anyways. Radial, we'll do sports 205s with 18-inch rims. And so we have vented discs in the front, one piston. Don't know how big they are. No vented disc in the back, one piston as well. 5. No under tray. actually fully optimized under tray. That doesn't show up. I'm assuming that's just a normal under tray. 2 in the front, 3 in the back. Yes. Basic interior. It's actually got electric steering. Does have traction control and ABS. Alright, so springs. No air suspension support. I guess we'll just do standard. Twin tube. Sway bar passive. Semi-active, actually. Actually, that 20 miles per gallon actually seems pretty accurate. This isn't that bad. Actually might be the best steering I've made. Let's go back to the brakes. To get from 178 to takes 10 seconds. So from 60 to 0. So 3 seconds, 60 to 0. Actually, you know what? We're going to keep this at 200 millimeters. And we're going to go up on the race pads. There we go. The 60 to 0. Significantly better. We're going to tone those down a bit. Alright, so that should be completed. Oh, except for the fixtures. So we're going to work on that real quick. Alright, so the reason I went with this paint is because this is the same color as my car. And this is based off my car, kind of. Alright, so this is the finished product. The wing is just a generic wing for downforce. This is it. Gotta do a little more with the gearing, and then it'll be fully done to test out. Alright, so 0 to 60 is somehow 6 seconds. 6 seconds, which is insane for I think 400 horsepower. Yeah, 440 horsepower. But I think it's mainly from the weight. 2,700 pounds, which is, I mean, there's no weight reduction done or anything like that. And the gearing, because I suck at gearing. Gearing is one thing I cannot do, and that's probably why. I wonder if I make the gears longer, maybe it'll stay in power band longer. Yeah, because it never reaches. Hold on. Alright, so I got these done. Realistically, probably suck. Don't know. Like I said, I'm horrible at that. But 5.6 isn't terrible, but what I'm really mainly focused on is this steering graph looks good in theory. Because we're staying a little bit oversteer, just a little bit. And then boom, we're right in the sweet spot. Then when we get all the way up here, um, starts to understeer, which is okay. Aerodynamics, you can look at the fast one once again, all the way a little more on the oversteer side, which is good. We don't want it too much. Um, Stays real good until 90, where it starts to hit understeer. So this is actually looking pretty good so far. Alright, so I don't know if audio is working or not, because it hasn't been working for a bit, but oh, I forgot to lower it. Oh well, it'll be good enough. But if the audio is working, you guys will definitely be able to hear the idle, because it idles at 1,500 RPM, which is quite high. For some reason, it breaks it when I actually use the track, so I'm just gonna have to set a stopwatch. Um, Other than that, I don't know if my audio is picking up for the game. It hasn't been recently for some reason, but in case it is, here's it revving. But let's get started. We're gonna line up and start. And I'm cooked. Okay, it's not bumper damage. Where they are properly. I've learned I'm very, very bad at driving this car. This is like my 6th attempt. I'll probably have a showcase of all the failed attempts um, at some point. The steering is not what I was expecting. I probably just can't read the graph, but it's also possible that the graph transferred over weird from Automation to BeamNG. But I can say for sure the break-on graph is not what I expected. I have to engage my parking brake and brake at the same time just to be able to make a corner like that. Perfect example. I don't really care that I went into the grass, as long as I don't crash. So I gotta take this corner. Don't crash. There we go. I mean, it's not the worst car ever. It's definitely mostly driver mod because I suck, but it could be better. No, 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 no. There we go. Didn't seem to affect anything, so we are going to continue. Um, there we go. Braking power, not great. It's not. It's actually not the worst, but yeah, I think mainly um, skill issue is why I keep crashing, and not necessarily the car. The straight line speed is fairly good, as we're about to see. For some reason, it's not shifting. There we go. Straight line speed, it gets up there. Um, but these corners, wow, this one's gonna be a real tough corner. I feel like some wider tires would do it right. Uh-oh, I'm losing control. All right, just hit the rear end. We're not too bad off. All right. I think we're coming up on the end of this track, and we're at 2 minutes and 50. Dang it. We're at 3 minutes now. Coming up to the end of the track. Yeah, I feel like most of it is definitely a skill issue, but some of it's also the car, which is also a skill issue because I made the car. But that was a 3 minute and 10-second lap. Um, Quite a few crashes, and I'll be right back when I get done a lap in a track car. Alright, so I just did it in this car. It's called like the Civic whatever. And same rules applied. And it was about 308, I think, something like that. So slightly faster, but I mean, we're comparing like this to what I just made. So um, definitely proves how much driver mod there is, because there's no reason this should be even close to, or the Corolla should be even close to as fast as this. Um, so I'd be interested to see the results if somebody who's actually good at the game tried both, but I don't know. 310 is what I got with that. 308, 307 is what I got with this. Same rules apply. So overall, it's not a bad car. Let's get to the drag races. I just figure out I don't have any drag race maps, and it's getting a little too late to download it, try all that stuff. So I'm gonna end it up there. Um, that's how fast you can make a Corolla XRS derived. Well, nope, just straight up Corolla XRS. I did also make a XRS derived one where I just basically kept the engine from this same exact engine, and I put it in something actually better than um, a sedan of this size. It wasn't a sedan at all, actually. It was a roadster, and it performed amazing. Um, Everything's better, speed, handling, all that was better. But this video, I just wanted to see how fast you can make an actual designated Corolla. So that's all. Thank you.